All right, let's go ahead and talk about our first project. So up to this point, you have been doing exercises. The exercises are pass-fail, meaning if you complete them, you almost always get full points. Now we are diving into the serious business. So not only are these weighted much more in terms of points than your exercises, but they will also be graded via a series of points. I will touch on those later, but know that now I have much higher expectations of your work. So there's a huge difference between the exercises and the projects. I expect you to be very thoughtful. I expect you to spend a lot of time on these projects. So let's go ahead and chat about project 1. I'm going to share the assignment sheet for you. This is my Canvas view. It looks slightly different than yours, but the content is the same. So this project is called a common thread. Again, it's going to be the first major project. As such, we will be working through the process together week by week. So during week 1, which starts now, you should shoot your images. So you should create most of the content for this project. It may take you a number of days. I encourage you to shoot more than you think you need, but also to be very thoughtful. Take your time, go out and shoot with purpose. Okay, you should be shooting bracketed images, which you should know via the previous lecture and the previous exercise what bracketed means. You do not need to keep your bracketing journal because we will be going through a Lightroom demo. So that's going to be week number 2. I will go ahead and do a Lightroom demo. That will be our next video lecture. So shoot all of your content, then you don't need to do anything with it until I show you how. So in the Lightroom demo, I'll talk about how to upload, edit, and save your images. You will need to have access to Lightroom. Okay, if you're working on a personal computer, you will need to have the cloud downloaded, and you will also need to have Lightroom downloaded. It takes up to 2 hours for that program to download, so make sure that as you sit down to the computer next week, you have that already downloaded, ready to go. You've opened it up already. You know that it loads properly. Okay? So, what are we going to be talking about? What are our objectives for this project? Technical shooting. So everything that we talked about up to this point, the camera settings, all of the equivalent exposure, the bracketing will come into practice now. We will learn a workflow through Lightroom. So there's a very specific way to professionally work through all of your photographic content. We will do very minor editing. So it is the biggest mistake of a photographer to think, oh, I can fix that later. I can change that later. I can edit it out. No. This is like your grandma's favorite cookie recipe, right? You're already starting with a great foundation. Maybe you want to add more salts. Maybe you want to add a tiny bit of cinnamon. Maybe you like a few more chocolate chips. That is fine, but we do not touch grandma's recipe. It's great already. If you start with a photo that is great, the editing will enhance it. You cannot change a bad photo to a good photo. You just can't start with bad already. You can only go up so far. Okay, and in this class, this is not a major photoshopping class. We will get to that a tiny bit, but we are not creating something out of thin air. We are starting with a great quality image. So you are shooting with intention, you are capturing quality images to start with, and then we can slightly edit them via Lightroom. So that is our goal for this class. This project creates a series of work and should be thought of as a set. The photograph should have a recurring theme throughout. The connecting thread, i.e. a common thread, can reference compositional or technical elements. Maybe you're shooting the exact same way every time. It could be subject matter. Maybe you are finding all the similar objects that you can and photographing them. Probably you're going to have a combination of these different facets. It could be the setting, or it could be any combination of those. Your images should be formulaic. What does that mean? Create a recipe that you will follow when photographing. So often famous photographers get very good at one particular style so that any old average Joe that is walking in off the street, walking into a museum or a gallery, they could see a photo and they could say, ah, that looks like a Stieglitz. Ah, that looks like an Ansel Adams. Ah, that looks like an X, Y, and Z. Doesn't matter who you are, because photographers create their recipe and because they shoot things very similarly, it becomes a style. It becomes iconic. So you want to be formulaic in that, I am shooting at this time of day. I am shooting this subject matter. I am shooting it composed within the square in this way. I am shooting blank, 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 blank. All of those options that you have for yourself, create some standards and keep a lot of those really consistent from image to image to image. That creates a really strong set or a series. We are creating a series of images. Okay, you may also think about ideas such as collections, recurring themes or objects, documentation, archives, repetition, or mass production. So all of those are just juices to get you thinking about this concept. Where are you going to take inspiration from? What matters to you in your life that you would want this photographic series to epitomize? Additionally, please review the 4 aspects that we will be graded upon. This is in the syllabus, but I'll talk about it here. So number 1, workflow. The student has demonstrated an understanding and completion of the objectives outlined for the project. So that's, do you understand your camera? Do you understand the workflow through Lightroom? The student is comfortable using the equipment and has used their work time appropriately. So when you're designing this project, I want you to think big and challenge yourself, but don't make it so challenging that you can't complete it within the 2 weeks. Don't make it so easy that you could complete it in a day, okay? Make it appropriately challenging for yourself. Craftsmanship, also 20 points. Photographs demonstrate a high quality craftsmanship, including correct exposures, focus, clean printing, and/or thoughtful display, completed on time, and well presented. Okay, so that is all the technical stuff. Is this technically a good photograph? Did you have good craftsmanship? Did you have an attention to detail? That's kind of what that one talks about. Imagery, this is aesthetics. Is it a nice photo to look at? Final images will demonstrate awareness and skillful use of lighting, space, and composition. So when we're thinking about imagery, we're thinking about the viewing. So this is where the kind of art portion comes into it. Is it technically a masterful photograph? Is it pleasing to look at? Did you balance things appropriately? Did you choose colors that were very nice? Do you have a focus or a focal point? Were you thoughtful about what's in focus and what's not? All of that sort of information goes into imagery. And then concept. So concept is a tricky one for a lot of people who come in that are not art majors and/or haven't had to really think about conceptual art. What is conceptual art? It just means something that is thoughtful. So our goal with this is to present an original, unique, finished product that clearly demonstrates a high level of thoughtfulness and a concept which provokes an emotional, intellectual, and/or psychological reaction in a viewer. So when I look at your images, I should feel something, whether that's ecstasy, bliss, excitement, disgust, intrigue. It should capture me in such a way that I can stand there for a minute and I'm engaged with it. Okay? And part of that is also the whys. Why are you photographing these items? Why are they important to you? And hand in hand with that is, why are you making art out of this? What do you have to say as an individual? What is so important and so unique to you that only you can say it, and only you can say it through these photographs right now? Okay, what is your message? What is your story? What is your concept? That is what concept means. Successful art always has a thoughtful concept behind it. Okay, this is going to be due again in 2 weeks. So the first week should be all shooting. The second week should be all your editing and your workflow. By the end of this, you will want 10 final digital images. And those are going to be your favorite, your best 10 that fully articulate the story. And those will be edited. By edited, I mean enhanced. You will also want a contact sheet. So that is all of the images that you shot for this project. I will ask you to submit all of those. Okay, every single image. So separate those from the photos that you took of your cousin's birthday party last week. Separate those from your selfies. Separate those from everything else. I want everything that you have done for this project, even if they were separate ideas, even if you don't go with them. I need to see each and every individual photo. This is helpful for me to understand where your brain is at while you're shooting. And for this project, it's going to be helpful because I will be able to see all of your bracketed images, not just the one that you chose. So if you shoot 200 images for this project, I want to see them all in the contact sheets, but you only have to bracket the first 50. Okay, and you do not have to write down the brackets like you did before or your bracketing exposure journal, because I will show you how to automatically do that in Lightroom. All right, so that is that as far as the assignment, but I want to also show you some examples both from professional photographers and student work.